The desire and will for calculations, which began in ancient times, developed over time, leading to the invention of mechanical calculators. It was not modern computer, but mechanically reduced time of calculation. In the mid-1900s, electrically operated computers also appeared. The computers of this era were like electricity-consuming monsters that took up a large amount of space, and their purpose was to predict the trajectories of ballistic missiles. It was operated by a trained technician who repeatedly turned the switch on and off. This operation of the computers of this era were capable of accepting external control, but they simply turned on and off according to finite set of control patterns, and it was impossible to control them in more detail. When using a desktop PC, it becomes possible to input strings using the keyboard. In this modern form of computers, can run the operating system, a type of stored program, which boots, and when boot completes, a prompt appears. When the prompt appears, the user enters a command using the keyboard, and CLI, command line interpreter, executes the command. The execution of commands were provided in the form of executable files provided by the operating system, and were also built into the login shell responsible for CLI. When you enter a command with complex options that may be difficult for the general public, the shell interprets and executes the command. These structures are highly complex. Pipes and redirection functions are used to receive and execute command results. Therefore, a GUI operating systems to replace CLI was also developed. However, all GUI operating systems still provide a separate CLI. This is why system administrators are asked to combine multiple functions to achieve detailed execution. If commands are entered with selected options, it would control more detail to the commands. However, we may only use commands that we use every time. It is impossible to read the manual page and experiment every time. Therefore, many Linux users want to obtain a book that explains as many commands as possible, supported by Linux in as much detail as possible. This book is a very good book. It does not only explain as many commands used in Linux and Unix as possible and in as much detail as possible, but the depth of the explanation is good despite the limited space, and the layout is designed to be easy to find commands only we want to find. This is a good book that explains a large number of commands in an easy-to-understand manner, starting with commands necessary for commonly known ones, and moreover useful commands for shell programming, date and application commands, such as calendar. I highly recommend the book because it introduces many other referential notes, such as timestamp problems in Unix-based operating systems, such as the Y2038 bug, which is similar to Y2K, and such as the underlying mechanism based on each command. The book is all-inclusive reference work for Korean technical readers. I recommend it to those who want to study commands well.